Tennessee and Florida, some last minute notes and observations. A Locked On Talkin VAWLS Friday here on the show.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Friday morning and welcome to the weekend. We are your unofficial start, your unofficial tailgate to kick you off here on the weekend. Tennessee news and notes, information, all that and more right here on Locked On Vols. I'm your host, Eric Cain. Can't thank you enough for being here, making us your first listen, your first watch each and every single day. A big shout out to FanDuel Sportsbook for being a part of the show. You can place $5 bet, a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started today. A lot of Boogie Bentley today. Boogie and I just hit record, and we just go, and we talk for about 30 minutes. So I'm going to get out of the way and play parts of our conversations here in segments 1, 2, and 3. Me and Boogie Bentley. A lot of conversation about the Arkansas game, obviously, and trying to flush it, and then saying that it's hard to flush it, and talking about Florida, then going back to the Arkansas. We're all over the map, but I think it's a whole lot of fun. I think you guys appreciate it. But here's part 1 of my conversation with Boogie Bentley of the of the Talkin VAWLS Network. Boogie, it has been a long week, and just like heading into the Arkansas game, we said, man, it's just going to be good to play football again. It's going to be really good to be out there and Tennessee having a chance to play football again because this fan base needs another game in the worst way. Good morning.
Yeah, we do. We sit here on this Locked On Talkin VAWLS Friday morning. One more sleep. We got one more sleep, and then finally we get back out there on the grass, play a little football. I think obviously this team needs it. This fan base needs it. This fan base. We need to see Nico be who he is. We need to see this football team be who they are. I made a video yesterday, and I said, man, I want what Josh Heupel sold us when he was out there in front of the podium. First day he was hired, standing in front of this fan base, and he says, we're going to play a high-octane, up-tempo offense. That's what I want to see on Saturday night against Florida. I want to see this team go quick. I want to see them take shots. I want to see them play aggressive. And we can debate whether Josh Heupel's been conservative or not, but you can spin a narrative either way. You go conservative against Oklahoma, you get a win. That's smart coaching. You go conservative against Arkansas, you lose the game. That's a problem. So, yeah, we need some football. We need something. I'm sick and tired of talking about the lost. I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, it's like, you've had at points in time throughout his tenure a high-octane, explosive offense. And then what was the other half of that? He said, we're going to play elite defense, and I literally just rolled my eyes when he said that at the time. But there's been elite defensive play at points in times this year. So it's like, can we get those together? And it's easier said than done, obviously.
Is that part of it, though? Like, is that part of, like, and again, it's so easy to spin a narrative coming off a win, coming off of a loss. So he said after the Oklahoma game, it's on tape, it's on film. You can see him tell Nico, hey, I dialed it back. He knows he's got that elite defense. So is that what is kind of leaning into him being conservative? Is it truly, is it lack of trust in the offensive line and Nico and whatever? Is it Alex Golesh? There's so many excuses. There's so many things we can talk about, but I do wonder, because it is the first time he's truly had an elite defense, that's what kind of bringing us this conservative offense.
Well, I could literally see, not having to go back and watch film or studying the stats. I could watch that game at Oklahoma and literally see they took the foot off the pedal, okay, offensively. I did not get that impression against Arkansas. They just couldn't execute, couldn't get it done. Couldn't protect Nico. Nico couldn't get rid of the football. Nico missed wide open receivers. I could see it at Oklahoma. At Arkansas, it was just a lack of execution, and it was just, which is worse, right? In my opinion, that's worse, and they got to figure some things out. Yes, we can sit here. Everybody needs to play better, okay? Nico was not fantastic. Nico's got to be better. Nico needs to see the field better. He needs to hit some open guys. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. That's football. But Boogie, golly, man, if they can't protect him, this is gonna be a long year. Tennessee has a offensive tackle issue right now. Tennessee has. On last Saturday night, Tennessee had a right guard issue. Tennessee just had issues protecting him, and that's not good because this is a veteran offensive line outside of Lance Hurd, who is the exception. He's a redshirt freshman. He's very much like Nico, but everybody else, man, this is a group that's been there, done that. They need to figure it out.
Isn't it kind of funny, though, that you bring up Lance Hurd, because that's the big thing. It's, well, Nico sucks. Well, Lance Hurd can't protect him. And we're talking about two redshirt freshmen But again, in 2024, in the NIL era, when you're looking at 5 stars and generational talent and all the hype and buzz we put on Nico, people expect it now. They don't want to be patient. And I was listening to Joel Klatt talk about Nico earlier this week, and he said sometimes you got to fail in order to grow. And I think I'm interested to see how this team responds on Saturday night. But what scares me is everything that you just said. It's not just one thing. There are so many problems with this football team right now. Nico, you got to hit guys. There were guys open, and I get it. We can screen capture, and we can pause, and we can say, look, that guy's wide open. Why didn't he throw it to him? Well, I don't know what his progressions are. I don't know what his reads are. I don't know what Nico's looking at.
Nico doesn't have a pause button in real life, too.
Exactly, exactly. But then at the same time, man, the offensive line is struggling right now. And, against Oklahoma, we made excuses. Well, it's because Lance Hurd didn't travel. John Campbell was banged up. Well, guess what? Those guys are back out there, and Lance Hurd's struggling. He's not in shape. And that was a big concern, him missing so much time and then missing time during the season. Like, how do you fix that? But if he's your best option, you got to roll him out there. So that's what's on Josh Heupel. If you got an offensive tackle problem, you got a guard problem, you got protection issues, you got to find ways. Get the ball out quick, mix it up, do some things. It's time. It is time to run Nico. We yelled all last season, you got to run Joe Milton. They didn't do it. Were they scared of Joe getting hurt? Did Joe not want to run? What's the deal with Nico? He's athletic as all get out. When he gets out, when he gets loose, he looks like Hendon Hooker. Run Nico on Saturday night. And I think just go down swinging, man. If they had been aggressive, I could take the loss at Arkansas so much better than it just feels like, well, here we go. Same old song and dance. Same old song and dance.
I mean, Nico's not, it's not like he's being untouched. He's being hit. And like for me, my whole thing, and again, I feel like I've said this every single day, everybody I've talked to, and I know it's Friday. I know everybody listening and watching is probably getting tired of it. You want to move on, I get it. But for me, it was the lack of in-game adjustments, okay? And I'm disclaimer again, I'm no coach. I don't try to be a coach. This is just my opinion. I mean, Darrell Sims came out and said, hey, we made some in-game adjustments, and that's why we went down and scored, drive 1 and drive 2. Okay, I mean, sure, I don't see those, but I'm not calling him a liar. Also, I think Tennessee just executed. Okay, and Tennessee didn't execute any other time. But when you are struggling to protect your quarterback, and Tennessee has these wide splits, right? And it's long developing pass plays, like motion, cut the splits in, underneath routes. I mean, I've just been beating that drum all week. Why, as a coaching staff, did you not do things to try to help where your offense was that night? I mean, for me, I'm just you're just trying to be so stubborn and trying to just continue to do what you do. And I respect that because in the run game at Oklahoma, just stay after it. It eventually came. But if you're 3-4 quarters deep and you got nothing offensively, do something different, especially when it's a 14-13 ball game and just get in field goal range. I mean, just help your defense out, because putting your defense out there, Boogie, drive after drive in the second half saying, oh, we have 14 points. Protect it. Oh, protect it again. Oh, roughing the punter. Protect it again. I mean, it's not fair. That's not complimentary football.
Yeah, and that defense played good enough to win the game, right? And I get it. They didn't play perfect. They gave up a lot of yardage, but they dug in. They dug in when it mattered, and they got stops. They forced a missed field goal. That defense deserved to win the game. Yeah. I think it's so interesting you brought up those 2 scoring drives, because I kind of thought the same thing. After it was over, I'm looking back, and I'm going, all right, you had a 14-3 lead, but you also scored back-to-back drives, and it was right after coming out of the locker room. I was like, what did they do different? And I went back and looked, and I've got it up in front of me right now. They went quick to Brew on the outside twice. Then they went Sampson for 3 to pick up a first down. They went quick to Squirrel for 6. You had an incomplete pass, and then guess what? Sampson breaks off a 53-yard touchdown run. Execute, right? Execute. There's nothing cute. There's nothing fancy. There's no changes. Sampson just breaks off a run.
Second drive, too, sorry to cut you off. That second drive, 2 costly penalties from Arkansas that kind of help move down the field.
The big play in that second drive was the hitting Nimrod across the middle. They brought pressure. Nico stepped up. He threw a strike to Nimrod. But, they shot themselves in the foot. You have to that's my big question going into Saturday night. Is Josh Heupel willing to change? And I get it. He's not going to completely change his entire offense. But, we praised him for using 12 personnel earlier in the year. Where was that?
Yeah. Where on earth was 12 personnel when you couldn't protect your quarterback? And I know 12 isn't just to get a 7 or 8 man protection. I mean, you can do that off of it, but it's also a different look to run the football. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. This team does a great job game planning. I mean, 12 personnel was a huge part of the game plan against NC State. But in-game adjustments, hashtag wrinkles, hashtag I was shocked Tennessee didn't go 12 in this football game, especially in the second half. I'm like, at some point I thought they were just going to run 12, line it up, and just run it down their throats, and that never happened.
And even you look at the sacks, man. Most of the sacks from the other night, you had the advantage. You had numbers advantage all night long. You couldn't run the football when you had a numbers advantage. So what do you do? And that goes back to execution. And is that on Josh Heupel? I don't know. Maybe it's on Josh Heupel because he didn't get his guys ready to go. Like, if you played, we've been recording for 9 minutes. If you played this to me 3 weeks ago, I'd be like, you're crazy. There's no way this is the reality. There is no way we are sitting down going into the Florida game talking about all these concerns and problems. So dumb it down, keep it simple, stupid. Does it just boil down to this team wasn't ready to go? And that's where the lack of execution was. And Dylan Sampson saying lackadaisical effort. I like Jacoby Thomas stepping up in front of the media and say, hey, this football team hates to lose. I hope that's true, and I hope they bounce back, and I hope they respond.
ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic Drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for the rough next day. So pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this product down. Just remember to take your ZBiotics, your first drink of the night, drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Every time I've taken a pre-alcohol before drinks, I notice it's a different type of next day. Even after the night out, I can constantly plan on getting the stuff done that next day that I need to get done without a worry. Here's the steps. It's really, really simple. So drink your pre-alcohol. For best results, make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. Number 2, drink responsibly. Pace yourself, hydrate, and get a good night's sleep. And then number 3 is enjoy tomorrow. Wake up feeling refreshed and ready to take on the day. Go to zbiotics.com/LockedOnCollege to learn more and to get 15% off your first order when you use Locked On College at checkout. ZBiotics is backed 100% money back guarantees, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they're going to refund you the money, no questions asked. Remember to head on over to zbiotics.com/LockedOnCollege and use that promo code LockedOnCollege at checkout for 15% off at ZBiotics. And of course, want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook. NFL fans, you can start the season off with a big return on FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view the live play-by-play, and so much more on the page where you place your bet. So you're going to get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. And of course, when you look at college football, when you look at Tennessee and Florida, Tennessee 15.5 or 14.5 point favorites, that total is at 56.5. I like Tennessee to win this football game. I like Florida to cover. That's just kind of how this series goes. That's how I view it. But I like Tennessee to win this football game, and they're going to have plays for all football games, not just Tennessee and Florida. So go over to FanDuel.com today, download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, safe, secure, easy to use, and put some coin in your pocket today. FanDuel, it's America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel, it's where you can make every moment more.
Can you chalk all this up to just not being focused and dialed in through the bye week?
No.
So,
Again, I'm not in that locker room, not on that football team, but no, and we talked about this on the I think it was the VolQuest Mailbag podcast this week. Like, I'm not calling Dylan Sampson a liar at all. Like, I'm not saying that he's wrong. I also know that was 12:30 in the morning. I also know that was after Tennessee just lost a really, really tough game. And you might not be in the best mind space to answer something like that. So you might just kind of have something roll off the tongue a little bit. I mean, Keenan Peely, I was in that room. Keenan Peely came in behind him, and somebody said, Dylan Sampson said this, do you agree? And he essentially said, like, hey, everybody can say what they want or entitled to their own opinion, but no, I don't agree with that at all. And I think Rob even pointed out, like, no disrespect to Dylan Sampson, but how would he know what the safeties did that week in practice? You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think a lot of that comment – and I'm not saying there's not truth behind it, but I think a lot of that comment had to come from it was 12:30 in the morning and you just lost a football game and it stunk.
Yeah.
I just think the majority of it is execution. Losing one-on-one matchups on the offensive line, your running backs missing blocks in pass pro, your offensive line and running backs mis-IDing defenders and not knowing who to block, and that attributes to a couple of sacks. I think more than anything, Boogie, at least in my eyes, that's kind of where it was. Let's continue this conversation. Got a lot more to get into with Boogie Bentley. Hey, I don't know if you know this huge game coming up on Saturday. We've been living in the past here on Locked On Vols, Locked On Talkin VAWLS.
I have to all week.
Huge.
All week.
Two quarterbacks, Boogie. The old adage is you got two quarterbacks, you don't have any. I think for Florida's issues, quarterback's not the biggest issue for Florida. Head coach obviously on the hot seat. Defense can't, stop anything on the ground except against UCF last week. Graham Mertz is playing well. DJ Lagway is playing well. But what do you make of this two quarterback system? And do you think they're going to stick to the 2 series for Mertz, 1 series for Lagway the entire game? Or do you think that, the backup quarterback will give Tennessee issues like history tells us and they'll go on with him?
Oh, my gosh. Battered Vols syndrome on
I
a Friday
know, right?
morning.
I
What are we
know.
doing? What are we doing? Gosh. Yeah, like it's typically, but it's the old Ainge and Schaefer, right? Those two guys played complementary football when you were rotating. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's working for Florida. Lagway's actually put up better numbers. He's turned the ball over more than Mertz has, and I mean, I think that is such a key thing in this game, forcing turnovers. That they failed to do that against Arkansas, and going into it, it's like that's an area you thought Tennessee could capitalize on. I'm not scared of Florida's quarterbacks. I'm not scared of Florida's team. Graham Mertz, I think he's a good player, man. I truly do. It's just going into this thing, it feels like a must-win game. Feels like Tennessee has to win this game, and I know that probably gets overused, but it's must-win for Florida too. It's must-win for Florida, but I can't talk about quarterbacks because you triggered my battered Vols syndrome on this Friday morning. We've been here before. We've seen this story. We know how it plays out. Florida's playing good football. That's the narrative. They're terrible. We're better on paper. We got better coaches. We got better players. They're not any good. You just said Billy Napier's on the hot seat. You know how many people are terrified of this game because we beat them twice in the last 19 years.
Yeah.
I don't think Florida's a good football team. I didn't answer anything you said about the quarterbacks. I think they're both good quarterbacks. I do. I'm not worried about Lagway. I know we get worried about backup quarterbacks. We get worried about athletic quarterbacks. And yeah, Talon Green had probably the game of his career against Tennessee last weekend. But I don't think he didn't run all over Tennessee. I think they did a good job containing him, keeping him boxed up. But he made plays. Florida's going to make plays on Saturday too. Graham Mertz is going to make plays, but I'm Jekyll and Hyde here. First half of the show, terrified. Second half of the show, confident for some reason. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Fan is short from fandom, baby. Fanatic. All right, that's kind of what we're doing here. I'm kind of with you, and I never thought I'd say this, and this is no disrespect to DJ Lagway because I think he's going to be good. Hopefully, he doesn't make awesome highlight reel plays on Saturday, but Mertz is so accurate, and since he's come to Florida, he was at 74% entering the game last year. He's at 77% right now,
and it's getting better week by week. Like his accuracy is improving.
What needs to happen, Boogie, is Tennessee does not need to go in with the same defensive game plan in Gainesville last year, where Tennessee was like, all right, hey, we're going to keep everything in front of us. Let's rally. Let's make tackles. Let's do that. No, you know why? Because you missed over 10 tackles in that football game, and that was bad. And Mertz just picked you apart. Now, they're going to throw a lot underneath. And, yeah, his average yard per attempt is not very high. But what they do, they do kind of well. So Tennessee's going to need, in my opinion, to, play some zone, rush the quarterback, speed up that progression. If you're rushing with 4, get back there and get home with these 4. Can't get confused with the eye candy underneath. Linebackers, I thought, especially in that first half or that first drive, got confused a little bit with some of the eye candy underneath. You can't do that because Florida's going to run a lot of it. I just think this defensive game plan's got to be much more aggressive than what it was a season ago because it did not work a season ago. And talk about in-game adjustments, Tennessee made no in-game adjustments last year on defense either. So it needs to be a better game plan entering this week, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think what we just said in the first half of the show about the offense. Let's go fast. Let's be aggressive. I think it's the same for Tim Banks in defense. I think the Tim Banks defense is better when you are aggressive, when you're bringing pressure, whether it comes from the star position or the linebackers. I think you need to take advantage of that. What's the worst that can happen? They score. That's fine. It's a football game. They're going to make plays. They're going to score. Yeah, I want to see them be aggressive. Get after it, man. James Pierce played a good football game. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder. Arian Carter did not play well last week. He has to be better. Like you said, the eye candy, the misdirection last week. Arian Carter, you take one step in the wrong direction, now you're 5 steps behind. So we'll see. I just want Tim Banks to be aggressive, man. Be aggressive. Get after it.
That 3rd and 16 when they were backed up on their 1 or 2 yard line, that was bad. That was really bad. You remember that play, Arkansas game?
Yeah.
As, Carter let him come out of the backfield. Oh man, that was so bad. The roughing. Okay, we're gonna stop living in the past.
That's oh my gosh. Yes, that's exactly where my brain went. It was like that play. You got him backed up on the one, and then the roughing the punter, and it's such a stupid play. It's such a stupid play. Well, don't try to block a punt there. It's a young guy. The punt block's not called. He's trying to make a play. Like if he blocks that punt, we're carrying him off the field on our shoulders, celebrating him.
If we can go back in the Wayback Machine here, literally, like nobody wants to hear. Well, back in my day, this happened, but I'm gonna do that. So buckle up. I remember. I mean, this wasn't even in college. This was in high school. Like, I mean, we were playing like Sevier County or something, and I remember it was just punt safe or punt return middle, whatever it was. It was not punt block, and I was one of the guys actually in the interior, and I just had nobody touch me, so I just kept going. I went back there, I tried to block it, and I ran right in that punter, and I drilled him. And yeah, 15 yards, Evans comes back on the field. And the next Monday or Sunday, whenever we were watching film, my old defensive coordinator, he would just continue to rewind it and play it over and over and over again, and just say, "Look at this, guys. This guy, it's a me guy. It's selfish guy. Look at this guy." And I'm just like, but it was right there for the taking. So I get and that's how it was UTC as well. His block and scoop and score touchdown.
Yeah, was not called. But we celebrated that one. We didn't fuss at him for that one, right? But
so it's young player, got to learn from it, and he will. But boy, if not for Nico running out of bounds on the last play of the game, that was the dumbest play.
We cannot get out of the past. It's Friday morning.
Okay, Florida. I think there's opportunity on the offensive line. It's not a horrible unit. They've allowed 5 sacks, both of those coming against Miami and Texas A&M. The run game's not that great. I think if Tennessee just plays aggressive and just kind of goes full throttle, I like Tennessee's defense against Florida's offense. Now, I want to tell you guys about our friends over at Robinhood. Robinhood Gold. You don't need silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn a very liberal rate of 4.5 APY on uninvested cash, receive unlimited 1% deposit bonuses, and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of high net worth of any net worth. The generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up today at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. And so I want to thank Robinhood Gold. Also want to thank our friends over at Homefield Apparel. That is the exclusive apparel sponsor of Locked On Vols. Football season is here. You can feel it. Those temperatures have kind of gone down a little bit this week, and that's awesome. And if you're heading out to Neyland Stadium this weekend or sometime later this fall, you want to be decked out in style, and you can do that thanks to Homefield Apparel. Can't miss Kickoff 2024 campaign. You get football boxes, coaching jackets, bomber jackets, and so much more. Also contains 3 never-before-seen items from the University of Tennessee that are not available anywhere else. Curated so fans have gear to wear all season long. Going to get a little chilly this weekend, so these are all made for all weather conditions. Plus, you get these Platinum Box VIPs receiving additional exclusive items like new hat, new ringer, VIP koozie. That Platinum Pass guarantees 20% off the early access to Tennessee football's releases throughout the 2024 season. No more missing out on Homefield because it's sold out. Homefield is a premium collegiate apparel brand based in Indianapolis. The focus is on vintage designs, officially licensed vintage designs, and the University of Tennessee has some of the best designs out there. Trust me on there. Go ahead and get started today. Be decked out. Be a great Tennessee fan today by using Homefield Apparel. Go to homefieldapparel.com to get started today. That is homefieldapparel.com. Boogie, Dylan Sampson and the Tennessee offensive line bounce back game. 310 yards on the ground to A&M, 240 yards on the ground to Ole Miss. They did respond well and only allowed 108 to UCF last week. UCF in the Big 12, mind you. But I think this is an opportunity to get back to do what you do well, run the football, and build off that. And I think Tennessee's going to have an opportunity to really run the football very well.
Yeah, you talk all week about how we need this game, right? This fan base needs this game. This team needs this game. I think Nico needs this game, right? And in my mind, I'm going, man, I want Nico to come out, ball out, like earn like the trust back from this fan base, and people stop talking about how much money he makes and how bad he is. I'm like, yeah, we need Nico, and then I'm like, Florida can't stop the run. It's going to be a heavy dose of Dylan Sampson on Saturday night. I think Dylan Sampson is going to eat. They are awful against the run, and man, I don't know why I let things trigger me, but I do. I'm a passionate guy. I'm an emotional guy. I wear my heart on my sleeve. It drives me nuts. It drives me nuts to hear people in the national media for weeks, and now they get to say, we were right. We told y'all Tennessee hadn't played anybody. Even some of our fans say this nonsense, but they talk about scheduling, opponents, and who Tennessee's played. And then you look at Florida. Look, they're playing good football, guys. They're playing good football the last couple of weeks against Mississippi State in Central Florida. And then you just rattled off the numbers. It's like, well, okay, let's go look at how good they do against the run in the SEC. And you rattled off the numbers from Mississippi State and Texas A&M. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? 550 yards combined in 2 games on the ground. I think Tennessee is going to have a field day running the football down Florida's throat on Saturday. Hopefully set up some play action, and we throw some fireworks in there so we get a little faith back in Nico.
And I think that's coming. Again, like I get the frustrations. I get everybody wanting the immediate answers, and everybody's got to blame somebody, and it's my fault, and it's the coaching staff's fault. Nico should. Why do we even get Nico? I mean, I get it. It's tales old as time. First loss of the year. First loss that you shouldn't have lost on the road. I mean, everybody's got to blame somebody. But I can promise you that Nico's still pretty freaking talented, and I'm pretty sure Nico's still going to make a lot of really talented plays. So just buckle up. Hopefully we see some of those this Saturday. Going back to, who they played and what they did in those games, Florida, look at offensively, 261 yards of total offense against Miami, 301 yards of total offense against Texas A&M. I mean, that's not winning you any ball games. So I think this is a perfect storm, knowing, Boogie, that it's Florida. This series is wacky. Maybe it's a mental hurdle for the Volunteers program. I mean, these players haven't been here for all these losses, so it doesn't really matter much to them. But it's a hurdle for this fan base, no doubt. That's why I'm picking Tennessee to win, Florida to cover. Just because I've been there all week, because I know how this series goes. But what an opportunity to bounce back, and I think Tennessee will do just that. What do you think Tennessee's going to do? Maybe not final score predictions, but give me how you think Saturday is going to go.
I have no idea why I have this confidence, man. There's absolutely no reason. If anybody listening to this show, it's like y'all have been nothing but negative for the past 20 minutes.
I know. I can already foresee the comments like, oh, man, why not even listen to this? Sorry.
It's because that Arkansas game stings so much. And the frustration that we just talked about and people wanting to blame people. Guess what? People didn't do that during the Butch Jones era because Butch Jones sucked. They didn't do it when Derek Dooley was here. They didn't do it when Jeremy Pruitt. It's like the expectation that Josh Heupel has created so fast. All of a sudden now, a 9-win season a year ago is a disappointment. Like the expectations have risen. So yeah, it stings, and that's why it's hard to get on here and look ahead to Florida because we're still suffering through that loss. And it feels good to hurt again. It feels good to care that Tennessee lost on a Saturday hey.
The old phrase, it feels good to hurt again. Are you sure? No, I know what you're saying.
It does, man. Look, I could have woke up on Sunday and gone fishing and not thought about it again, but instead I've been thinking about it every single day because this team is back to where they belong. Florida, I don't know why I've got confidence, man, because battered ball syndrome is real, and I get it. We beat them twice in the last 19 years. That number's going to be all over the place. It's going to be all over the broadcast. Is it real? Is that just a thing for fans, though? Like, I know these players understand. They probably know, but does it really impact them in the locker room and on the field? I don't think it does. I think it just boils down to playing football on Saturday night. We got more talent. We got opportunities. They're really bad against the run, like we just mentioned. I think Tennessee's defense is going to make some plays. I think Nico bounces back, man. I wonder, and I know we're up against it, and you're ready to shut this thing off and kick me out of here so I can go play Pac-Man back here behind me. But it's like, I think Nico needs some confidence, man. I think he lost some confidence in that NC State game, throwing those picks. He's had happy feet. I don't know if it's a lack of trust in the offensive line. Draw up some plays for Nico. I know Hubs was all over it all week long saying that first play where you roll him out of the pocket, like he thrives in that. And then I heard Joel Klatt talk about it. He's really good playing backyard football, moving on the run, then roll him out. Let's design some plays where Nico can roll out and use his legs and get him out in space. Run him. I don't know why I have confidence. I think because I think at the end of the day, Tennessee's going to be able to run the football, and this offense is best when Tennessee is able to run the football. My prediction was 31-17 Tennessee. This fan base gets back on track. We get dialed in, and we get ready for the third Saturday in October.
I like it. You're going to win this Saturday. You are 5-1, 2-1 in SEC play, and hosting an Alabama game, an Alabama team on the third Saturday in October that is going to be good. It's going to be a challenge, but also, hey, almost nearly blew the game, leading 30-7 to Georgia, and of course, what we know last week, going on the road and losing to Vanderbilt.
Why aren't we talking about that? Why is nobody burning Alabama to the ground? They lost to Vanderbilt, but Arkansas lost to Arkansas. You might as well just shut the program down.
I also think it's hilarious that it feels like, at least from my Twitter feed, that like people are more upset with DeBoer's shirt than the loss. It's like the shirt wouldn't be a talking point if they didn't lose, right? I mean, who
sounds like a Talkin VAWLS Wednesday night. They're worried about what shirt you're wearing, not what you're saying.
Oh, Boogie, yeah, but just I love coming in here and having a plan and then just going off the rails. We say it every single week, but that's what makes this work, in my opinion. What are you guys going to be wasting everybody's time with later this morning? You guys are going to be live, and then of course pregame and postgame, right?
Wasting people's time. Friday morning. Coach Jay will be back in the house for the morning show.
That's what Locked On Vols is, man. I do the same thing.
We're debating, man. We're debating doing a little film breakdown. Coach Jay loves to break down film. I don't know if we would get copyright struck if we got the Sky Cam from ESPN Plus and showed it and looked at some good plays, bad plays, something we're kicking around.
Say you would.
See, I don't care if they take the ad revenue. I don't want them to strike my channel to where I can't stream or take the stream down. I don't know how that would work. I'm not Aaron Murray. I'm not allowed to do that. If I was, anyway. What were you saying? Yeah, Friday morning stream, tailgate show an hour before kickoff, live immediately following the game.
Let's get it, man. I'll be on your show Monday morning to hopefully talk about a Tennessee bounce-back victory on your Monday morning stream. Boogie, as always, man, thanks so much. Good stuff today, and we'll see what happens tomorrow with Tennessee and Florida.
Go Vols.
All right, that is going to do it here for this edition of Locked On Vols. Can't thank you guys enough for making Locked On Vols a part of your morning routine, your first listen, your first watch, each and every single day. We've had a fun week. We've had some guests on. We have talked about the Arkansas loss ad nauseum, but hey, we're done with that now. It's all going to be Tennessee, Florida the next time we get on here and talk a little Locked On Vols. I'll do my best to do a postcast show. It'll be super late, but I'll do my best to do one on Saturday nights, and then, of course, we'll be back here Monday morning to get you set for the third Saturday in October. It's Tennessee, Florida. It's a rivalry game for people like me. This was what you grew up, the big rivalry game. And, right there at the end, Boogie was talking about, do these players kind of know or care about this streak? And I meant to talk to him about it before he got off, but I think they're aware to an extent, but, they're focused on what's happening now, or like they know what happened last year since they've been here at Tennessee. I don't think they're living in the past, and I think that's a great thing because the fan base surely is. We'll see what happens. Tennessee and Florida, we'll break it all down right here on Locked On Vols. Enjoy your weekend. If you're going to the game, stay safe. Enjoy it. This is Locked On Vols.